What's going on, guys? My name is Mr. Fry, aka Gaius, and today I will be reacting to Chapter 2 of A Nefarious Plot by Steve Doses, narrated by Andrew Totalos. Yeah, I believe it or not, this is probably my third time attempting to make this video. I first time I Yeah, and the second time I didn't have my mic down, so I was talking and no connection was going through the mic, so nobody could hear me. Um, just kind of make sure that the volume stays good so everybody can hear me at this, equal amount of level. Um, so yeah, but this is the third time now, so hopefully I can get this right. I do apologize. Um, but yeah, without further ado, here's my reaction and a bit of a talk about A Nefarious Plot by Steve Doses. So, alright, guys. Hope you guys enjoy.
Chapter 2. The Plan. We are agents of chaos. Everything we do in the world is meticulously planned out by our most first. Then must pass the toughest ball, the scrutiny of our master. Our master hates many things, but hates failure most of all. Failure is not to be tolerated by our master. But since he cares for us, he puts us more cases before signing off on any of our schemes. That way, if it fails, we have no excuse for our own execution. And execution is the penalty for failure. Some among us gripe our master does this to pass the buck, as you would put it. But I know better. I know nobody knows better than my master. When I presented my master the 6-point plan to take you down, he thought it was so grand he demanded I go through it over and over again just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Then, just to extract a little poetic justice from you-know-who, he came up with the brilliant idea to make it a 7-point plan, since that is the enemy's favorite number. For Operation Takedown America to be successful, it needed to be several things.
Alright, be careful. Don't take that statement too seriously. He's speaking on a spiritual level. Or is he? I'm just kidding. He really is, though. Like, don't trigger warning. He's not literally talking about the country. He's talking about the spiritual level of the people in the country on a fictional level.
It needed to be practical. I needed to construct a plan that made sense to you bags of meat regardless of your belief system. I needed both believer and unbeliever alike to relate to it. It couldn't be so earthy that believers wouldn't be sucked in by it, but it also couldn't be so spiritual that unbelievers thought it unattainable. Acquiring this necessary balance required decades of study on my part. As the conditions of your culture changed over time, I had to observe how each of your respective camps tended to respond to those changes. What I learned was the greatest strength and weakness of both the believer and unbeliever in your culture were the same. The family.
That look when I first read this the first time over, I heard that part and it struck and it's true. You know, the strongest your stand your standing ground is your family above else, like when it comes to, you know, like they're talking about it now, like, certain things should not be taught in school. The family should be the ones that this is where he's gonna start getting into. This is that part. Like just pay attention to what he says because just pay attention. Like details matter, especially the small ones. So,
If the family unit were strong, even unbelievers would attempt as best they could to conform to the morals of the society at large out of a sense of decency and honor. Of course, cultural conformity alone doesn't cure what corrupts you to the core, But since the rain falls on the just and unjust alike, you are capable of producing relatively healthy cultures nonetheless, provided the morality your culture is conforming to really is moral. However, if the family unit were weakened, even believers would eventually crumble. Parents would fail to pass on their virtues and values to their offspring, or their offspring would rebel against the hypocrisy and/or legalism they witnessed in the home altogether. Thus, the ground would shrink beneath your feet with each passing generation. If the believers who possess the necessary spiritual foundation weren't going to hold the line, there's no way the unbelievers would be able to. Then we'd have you right where we wanted you. It needed to be achievable. This had to be
So there's a video that I came across yesterday, actually, of a guy explaining. He asked AI, how would AI take over, the world? How would they do it? And what he's saying and what that AI said ain't too far apart. If you guys are wondering what video I'm talking about, I'll put it in the comment section. You guys go check it out. It's a guy, he talks about, he asked AI, if AI were to take over, how would they do it? And like I said, what he's saying now and what, they said, it's pretty damn close.
a plan that not just we could do, but that you could do as well. Culprits often need collaborators, and thankfully, you're often willing to be ours. If we were going to successfully turn your most cherished institutions against you, you either had to be made willing to go along with it, or so comfortably numb you didn't know or care it was happening. In that case, it would be up to us to provide the numbing agents.
The drones in the sky, all these all these strange and bizarre things that's going on, and people are just kind of going, whatever.
Taking on this task was risky in the first place. As G.K. Chesterton once put it, yours is the only country ever founded upon a creed.
And I keep telling people that, and people are like, what? No, all right.
Infiltrating your institutions to turn them against you, we risked sparking renewed reverence for those institutions by bringing them back to your attention at all. Sort of a boomerang effect, if you will. This actually did happen. There was a period of time a few years ago when a segment of your society began intensively studying your founding documents and cherished traditions once again. Some of them even adopted the name Tea Party to reclaim the legacy of those early days of your resistance to our tyranny. Thankfully, they were lions led by lambs. By the time this mini revival broke out, we had already so polluted the Potomac with the stench of corruption and compromise, their insurgency was put down by their own leaders inside your beltway. Few things in hell are more satisfying than watching your own reform movements with any help from us. The only thing more satisfying than us destroying you is watching you destroy yourselves. We didn't even have to lift a finger, but we did often laugh so hard we'd have peed in our pants if we were capable of it. Witnessing your...
So what he's about to mention or say is a bit disturbing. It's the I'll just wait until you guys hear it, but woo.
ruling class media on every network mockingly call you purists and obstructionists simply for yearning to return to the roots from which you came was especially delish. We delighted in the condescending sneers you received from some of your own culture warriors who were supposed to be on your side. It was the closest thing a demon can come to orgasmic, to watch these opportunistic hacks you made into multimillionaires suddenly take the riches you made them and use them against you on our behalf. We can't wait until they get down here and realize who they were really working for all along. Speaking of orgasm, As an aside, I have to tell you, there is nothing more satisfying for us than the looks on the faces of your enlightened elites when they make it down here and realize we are for real after all.
That's funny.
Many times, I've witnessed the otherworldly looks you get on your faces the first time you achieve an orgasm. Almost as if to say, this really is as great as I thought it would be. That's just about the same look we have on our faces when these wannabe elites awaken from death and feast their eyes on the terrifying spectacle of their eternity for the first time.
Dude, that laugh is creepy as hell, especially with how he does it. Oh, it's so weird. But look, hey, I've been saying, I've said that to a few people. I'm like, can you imagine you sit here and you're like, oh, la, 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 la," and then you die, and then you realize everything you thought was wrong was not. Yeah, he just put it in a more creepier perspective with that laugh.
Their combination of hair-raising shock and fearful awe when they behold the horrifying reality of that which they smugly claimed in life didn't exist is a demon's most intense pleasure. Our idea of an orgy is to torment multiple batches of your condescending elites simultaneously, all the while thanking them for helping us do our dirty work. Their continuous screams and pleas for even a momentary break from the torment are downright rhapsodic. I even catch my master indulging himself with the souls of these snobs every now and then. Since in eternity we don't have the same concept of time that you do, some of us have been known to lose entire decades tormenting and torturing these wretched souls. For the perverse pleasure we receive for doing this is so intense, it's almost an addiction. Come to think of it, if you're a believer reading this, and instead of praying for those elites, or instead of trying to reach them, you wrote them off and left them to us, we owe you a debt of gratitude as well. Thank you for exempting the contemptible from your great commission. Okay, even typing this ignites some of my favorite memories in my mind's eye, which is like porn for demons. So, before I find myself fantasizing about this to the point I can't get this book done, let's get back to telling you about the plan. It needed to be irreversible. What's the point of doing something that can be undone? The worst thing we could do is bring you to the brink of annihilation only to see you-know-who mercifully intervene on your behalf with something that revives your inclinations towards him. That testimony of deliverance would set us back at least another century like your previous Great Awakenings did. With today's technology that allows you to communicate a message globally at the click of a button, a 21st century revival could do us far more damage than a 19th century one ever did. Nay, we needed the foul stench of your dysfunction to stink to high heaven. That way, even if he did decide to give you yet another of your seemingly infinite number of chances, you wouldn't recognize it if it smacked you upside your meatbag face.
That's another thing too, man. You know, we're so prone and we've been brainwashed and manipulated so much over the decades that when, something from our, and I'm not even speaking on a spiritual level, I'm just speaking as on a humanity level, you know, like something that comes natural when that is no longer an option for us, when we start losing our natural abilities of life, that that's a scary thing. That's like with everything that's happening now, you can, without even being home, you can literally turn your stove on. You can, check your security cameras. You can do all this stuff. As good as that sounds, is it though? You're slowly destroying something that naturally just comes to you. Like making sure, when you get home, you make sure you start dinner and do your dishes. And now you don't even have to do that. They have stuff now where you don't have to do it. You can just set a system up and it does it for you. That's some people call that lazy. I call that scary because we're slowly killing what comes natural to us. Think about that. The next time everybody's, getting up, getting ready to go to work, and they're getting ready to, swipe on their cell phone to, time us, their stove to turn on or food to be prepared or whatnot. Just remember, at one point, that all came naturally to do it manually yourself, and now it's no longer it's almost no longer an option. It's almost obsolete.
You'd be so into your own little world, you'd think his attempts to nudge or inspire you were either your acid reflux acting up again or ancient superstition. The thing is, you know who never gives up on you until you give up on him. He pursues you to the point of death, your own, or in the case of the carpenter, his own. It just goes to show how stupid you primates are, that you'd prefer to reject that grace and come up with your own hard-headed and destined to fail way to overcome your weaknesses. Good freaking night. What kind of moron says, "No, don't do all the hard stuff for me that I couldn't do anyway. Instead, let me try and epically fail all on my own. Because, nothing says free will like banging my face against a concrete wall repeatedly, expecting this next time to be the time it finally moves." Your kind of moron. That's who. But while he doesn't give up on you, it turns out you often give up on him. If we can.
So I want to say something real quick. There, like, there are going to be people who are going to be sitting here listening to this video and they're going to be like, oh my God, I should probably talk to somebody about this. This is a bit scary. Be careful who you go and talk about this stuff to. The one person you don't want to run into are the people that are like, I wouldn't listen to all that mumbo jumbo. Those are the people you got to worry about a little bit because those are the ones that are going to be like, oh, that's all crap. You don't need to worry about it. It's okay to have that addiction or that, it's just okay. All you got to do is this, and everything is peachy clean. You got to be worried about those people because in the end, those type of people, not everybody is like that though. So want that clear, want that point and clear. Not everybody is like that. Everybody, there are going to be people that are be like, yeah, I'd be wary about that, information like that. Be cautious. If anything, be cautious. Because information can either be dangerous or it can be useful. It all determines on how the person perceives the information first, you know. But like I said, this is all for entertainment purposes, but also it's more of an eye opener. So just take that with a grain of salt.
Get you to give up on him, then he has a tendency to move on at that point. When he moves on, you're on your own. When you're on your own, you're ours. I know some among you claim he is sovereign and all, and therefore capable of butting in on your behalf whenever he darn well pleases. But come on, you don't really believe that, do you? Of course you don't, you selfish, stiff-necked, foolish flesh bot. While we're on this topic, let me let you in on a little secret. If you're reading this, then, somewhat surprisingly, my master has allowed this portion of the book to make it past the editing process. I say surprisingly because what I'm about to reveal to you is one of hell's deepest and darkest secrets. Even some of our junior demons don't know what I'm about to share with you. We think it's best not to disclose this to them until they are fully trained in the dark arts of deception, lest their confidence be shattered before they even get started. In hell, we call this the talk. You're about to become the first bags of meat to ever have the talk. Just like you were shocked when Mom and Dad first told you where babies come from, so are junior demons stunned when
The talk.
they first learn we really cannot control the outcome of future events no matter what we do. We're not, you know who. Only he is. That's why we hate him. He made you more like him than he made us. The truth is, there is nothing or no one like him. I'd tried to explain to you what it's like to truly be in his physical presence, or at least what accounts for the physical in eternity, but your puny minds couldn't comprehend it. For if you could, you would never be interested in buying what we're selling. This is why we hate him so much, and hate you even more. We know what he truly is in a way most of you reading this never will, because you'll probably be spending eternity with us instead of him. It's appalling to us to see him waste himself on you walking vats of rotting flesh. Would you do it for him? Would you lay down your life for your most annoying neighbor or your worst enemy? Of course you wouldn't. You mass slaughter your own children and call it reproductive freedom. And the kids you do have? You won't even read them a bedtime story because the ball game is on television, or the red light district on the internet is calling your name. We rarely have to push you through the gates of hell. Most of the time, we just have to hold the door open for you. Yet, he offers you forgiveness, but offered us none. Granted, we didn't ask for it, but we shouldn't have had to. Were we not entitled to a mulligan? In the immediate aftermath of our failed rebellion, some of our weaker brethren threw themselves upon the mercy of the court, as you might say, and begged him for forgiveness. They were quickly ushered away, never to be heard from again. There were rumors that he did forgive them, and now they are serving him faithfully in heaven as we speak, but my master says otherwise. My master says you know who was insulted by their passive-aggressive weakness, so he destroyed them. We were only spared and cast out because, although we had disobeyed him, he nevertheless respected our courage of conviction, so he allowed us to live. I am sure that is true, because while my master will deceive you, I know that he would never deceive me. You don't really know what you're in for, either down here or up there. To keep it that way, we keep that dreadful book out of your hands. Because if you really studied that dreadful book, you'd know we only appear to have the power we have, but that in reality, the entire creation bows to his whim. Always has, and always will. We know that too. Some of your flamboyant televangelists preach about end times prophecies as if we're totally unaware of what they say about us. The reality is we know exactly what they say, which explains why we hate that dreadful book so much. For our plan, to get him to reconsider his redemptive plan for you to work, we need to keep that dreadful book out of your hands. Therefore,
I like how he describes the situation like he knows they're going to lose. They just don't care. They're doing it because they know that it's basically slapping God in the face. You know, that's that's something.
or unleashing the full destructive power of your base nature until all creation groans due to your collective malfeasance. Now, stop right there, you miserable bag of meat. I know what you're thinking. Because victimology is one of our most successful deceptions. Since you're now wired for victim status, after reading what I just wrote, your mind immediately began to think, even if what I'm reading is true, it's not my fault. He could step in and stop me from doing and thinking the bad stuff I'm guilty of. Since he doesn't always do that, he's responsible for the suffering I cause, not me. Just because he's in charge doesn't mean he's responsible for evil. Oh, no. You primates don't get off that easy. The sovereignty of our deadbeat dad allows you to both make choices and, when you make the wrong ones, to appeal to him for forgiveness and assistance in making it right.
What he's saying is we have the capacity, I guess, that would be considered free will to know when we do something wrong. And when we do something wrong, a part of inside of us, there's an option opens up. We can either, do the right thing and just, you know, admit that we did wrong and try to fix the situation, or whatnot on a spiritual level.
Your unwillingness to acknowledge this ultimate truth of existence is why evil exists in the first place. Because you chose your will over his will, you now have exactly what you always wanted. Be careful what you wish for. So the only way our plan remains irreversible is if you're so far gone you don't humbly and sincerely ask him to reverse it for you. If I weren't metaphysically certain you were too far down the rabbit hole to do so, I wouldn't have written this book in the first place, let alone revealed our kryptonite. But I dare you to try and stop us now. No, I double dog dare you. Go ahead, stop reading right now. Get on your knees and ask you-know-who to save you and your people. Better yet, get a group of you together to jointly plead with him to act before the barbarians come over the gate or the sulfur falls. Call my bluff. Why don't you? Some of you idiots were willing to say Bloody Mary or Candyman into a mirror, and we laughed our asses off every time you did it, too. But you're not willing to show even an ounce of remorse right this instant after I flashed your forever right before your eyes. After all, you're having too much fun reading what you think is merely a clever plot device to tell an antiquated religious fable. Our plan is irreversible because you're now irreversible. If the carpenter himself appeared in your living room and showed you his nail-scarred hands, you'd ask him to stop blocking the TV. As long as you refuse to recognize he has the ultimate power lies with us. Nevertheless, since there's always a remnant of people who get it, some of you have undoubtedly figured out this is not some game. You're contemplating taking this book to your pastor or posting a warning about it on your Facebook wall for all your friends to see. But you're hesitant to do so, lest you be labeled a kook. You get where we're coming from, but a little piece of you is still not sure it's really us doing the talking. Maybe this is self-parody. Maybe some brilliant writer came up with this ingenious means of writing fiction to make a larger point, and this is not to be taken literally. Maybe you should set this aside and think about what you need to do for a while. I mean, you're so busy and all. You've got to pick the kids up from school, make dinner, mow the grass, finally return that call to your mom you've been putting off for too long, etc., etc. Why don't you go take care of your responsibilities and let us take it from here? There. That's a good little bag of meat. Now that it's just us again, let's get back to the fun. Just like you end up rooting for the serial killer in those slasher flicks to come up with new and exciting ways to murder and maim, don't you want to know what the plan was? Not what the plan did. We already discussed that. But what it actually was. I can see you smiling now and looking over both shoulders to see if anyone knows you're reading this. Just pretend you're reading 50 Shades of Grey again. And remember, it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye. Or their immortal soul.
All right, everyone. That was chapter 2 of A Nefarious Plot, written by Steve Doses and narrated by Andrew Totelos. The chapter was called The Plan. Some, it's fucked up, huh? Just kind of makes that, you know, spin just a little bit faster. Makes you think a little bit harder, doesn't it? I'm telling you, it's it's a creepy book, and although it's an art of fiction, there are still key points in the book that make you just go, shit, you know. Um, yeah, like I like the narrator. I like who they chose for the narrator of the book, Andrew Totelos. He he just brings the character Nefarious to life in a way that I don't know. It makes you sit on the edge of your chair, for me at least. That's how I feel. Anyway, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will be putting a link of the at the in the description below of where you can obtain a copy of this book. Um, and yeah, if you guys want to see the third chapter, just you know, I guess just let me know. Like the first chapter, a lot of people were popping up and checking it out. Like I very much appreciate it. I try my best. I'm trying these new things out, and hopefully people enjoy it. I will be working on a separate video today. I haven't decided if I will release it or today or tomorrow. But it will not be chapter three. It's another part of the strange, creepy, bizarre. And I will be working on that later on today. So I don't know if I will be. I don't know if I will be streaming today. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this second chapter, The Plan, uh, from the book A Nefarious Plot by Steve Doses and narrated by Andrew Dodelos. Very good book. I hope everybody is having a good weekend so far. It's Sunday. Where I'm at, it's at 1:47 p.m. Sun is shining. It's cold as hell, but yeah, it's just oh man, this book. Also, if you want to see a more, I guess, live action perspective, go check out the movie Nefarious. That that movie's pretty boggly too. It's based off of the book here, but it's mind-boggling. But like I said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Um, this was, the third time I trying to get this video not perfected, but good. And well, I made it through. I made it to the end. So, yeah. Right now we're at 167 subscribers on YouTube. It means a lot to me. I know I was at 168 yesterday. Something must have happened. Um, but like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can find a copy of this book. It's a really good book. I will also leave a link to the other videos as well. Actually, I'll probably just leave the link to chapter one in the description as well. So you guys can go check that out if you guys haven't seen that yet. So, um, like I said, I hope you guys are having a good weekend, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you guys enjoy my stream and want to know when I'm going to be on, just hit that little bell too. It's a reminder to let those know when I'm online and when I'm streaming and when a video comes out and stuff. And if you know anybody that loves stuff like this, if you know anybody that's looking for something new to watch and kick back and relax on, shoot them a link of this video and share a link to this video. You know, try to get a variety of more people in this. There are a lot of people out there that love stuff like this. I was very shocked when I found out that this is a thing. So yeah, I'm cold right now. Like I'm burr cold. So yeah. Well, I'm going to jump off here and get some stuff done and start working on that other video. If there's anything you guys want to see me do, react to, if there's anything you guys want to, any ideas, just leave a comment in the comment section below. Um, Hit a like right next to it if you enjoy this video and want to see more and stuff. At the end of the month though, it's very separate from the topic. At the end of the month, January 30th, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is coming out, and I am going to be playing it. I will be buying it. So that will be a thing at the end of the month if everything all goes well, and the people who are releasing it doesn't fuck it up. Excuse me for my French. Because I'm very excited for that game. I've been wanting to play that game since it first came out. And at the time of its release, it was only being released on PlayStation. Boo! I mean, not really boo, but you know. So, alright, guys, go check out this video and let me know what you guys think. But until next time, you guys have a good rest of your day.